All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakah Kodash. And double honors unto the apostles and elders of James Great Millstone. And a sincere Shalom to Yakim, bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. And now, Lord willing, I want to go into this video here entitled Residents Warn of Strain on Water Supply as AI Data Hubs Bloom Out West. And it's speaking about Reno, Nevada, man. Now, the thing is, Esau has built infrastructure literally smack dab in the middle of a desert, right? So here it is that water has to come from someplace, right? And understanding, the water delivery system a little bit, there's only a percentage of what you would call they call it million acres feet MAF of water that's being delivered from the Colorado River into Nevada, man. I believe it's like 0.9 million acre feet. And you would think, okay, with all these states nearby and this large body of water flowing through or next to these states, why is it that Nevada only receives, so low when you have Mexico, the country of Mexico actually receives more water from the Colorado than actual Nevada itself, man, right? And the reason being is because before this place was actually built up and created, they didn't account for water to be delivered into this place, man. Right? So which just makes it even further horrible infrastructure to create a space like an AI data hub. So I want to get into this because ultimately Esau mismanages the resources of the earth, man. Right? Here it is. This devil has all the power, and resources in order to make things right, but he continuously just messes up. Right? Showing you he's just a horrible leader. He should not be in this position of power. And ultimately, Yahweh Shai is going to take him out of the power and put up those whom he deems, perfect for the job, so to speak, man. And that's going to be who? Yahweh Shai, King David, the 12, and, the rest of the elect, right? Lord willing, we be those men. We'll be the governing body of the kingdom to come, in resources and product. And I was about to say productivity, but resources. Well, yeah, and productivity. Resources and productivity will be at, its peak, in terms of the greatest function that the earth has ever seen when we're in power, man. But I want to grab this precept here in the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 39, to get into the principal uses of men, their lives, right? There's Sirach 39, and I'm starting here at 25. It says, for the good are good things created, right? For the good are good things created from the beginning, so evil things for sinners. The principal things for a whole use of man's life are water. And Yahweh Shai made sure that water was number one on this list, man. Here it is. Our bodies are made up, of a large percentage, over 50, 60, 70% water. So the human body, it needs that hydration in order to function. Life in itself needs water. Trees, plants, the air needs water, right? We can go on and on and on, man. But here it is. This devil sets up things like AI data hubs that rely heavily on water supply. So he's essentially just draining out a desert, right? Making the people more destitute, making their bills more expensive, right? Because one thing about building or developments in general is you have something called a WNA, a water network analysis that's done on pretty much every development that's being built, right? Whether it's residential, single family, multifamily, whether it's a hotel, townhomes, commercial, parks, schools, all these different developments, you need a water network analysis, basically stating or specifying that the amount of water meets the criteria of minimums so that the individuals around that area, water can still make it into their houses, man, right? Efficiently. So I'm going to finish this out in the book of Sirach 39, and I'm going to get into this video. It says, the principal things for the whole use of a man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. All these things are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned to evil. right? And with these things being in Esau's possession, because the world is currently in his possession, and you see that all of these things have become weaker, right? Weaker through this man's horrible leadership, right? Does not the scripture say weaker with age? The second Ezra 14 and 17 says, "For look how much the world shall be weaker through age. So much more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein." Right? And ultimately, Yahweh Shema Shai is going to bring forth those evils. But I want to get into this video, let it play. Now about that, what happened to trying to bring forth a green energy initiative, man? What happened to all that? Because this, in essence, is just allowing resources to be spent or wasted in a very ridiculous way, right? And those residents around that area are going to be paying way more for their water because the demand for that AI center is going to be far greater. See, when you take a look at demand for water, they typically run in three scenarios: max day plus fire, and peak hour, right? Max day plus fire is basically servicing all hydrants or the nearest hydrant next to a reservoir, right? While peak hour is basically what they would call the time in which everyone would have their faucet on, right? Everyone in that area, whatever radius or circumference that would be. Now, the thing about that is the minimums for each of those scenarios are very different, right? Max day plus fire meaning having the lowest, which is around 20 psi. See, because one thing that Esau does, especially when they're building buildings next to each other and on top of each other, you have to either have a pump within that development or next to it in order for that water to be serviced onto the top of that building, or have some type of tank on site or some type of apparatus as such, man, right? But in essence, it's still drawing water from an area to another area, lessening the power or the pressure that comes out of your faucets, whether it's your sink, whether it's your shower, your tub, so forth and so on. All these things get weaker, and with that pull being demanded upon that system, it comes out of or it goes into your bill, meaning you have to pay more for it. See, but he's so worried about AI, right? And it shows you that the devil is setting up that enterprise because, he believes that he's going to rule forever, right? With him setting up, and the video is going to say it. I'm not going to play it all, but he set up 61 data centers in Nevada alone, man, right? Because he believes this artificial idumia, this AI, as Elder Yashawamba speaks on, is going to be his safe haven, man. He trusts fully within this system to help him rule for quote unquote what he looks at as generations to come, which we know Yahweh Shema Shai ain't gonna allow him to do that. But nevertheless, this devil is trying, right? He's trying, man. Matter of fact, I think it was a pre-out of this I wanted to grab. Yeah, I'm gonna grab this in Psalms 94, right? Because the video is also going to speak about something called zoning, right? And when you go into the topic of zoning, you have to have permits, and permissions in order to change zonings. For example, if you have a zone that's a particular number, let's say it's for single family residential, something like that. In order for that development that you want there to not be single family residential, if you want it to be a park, if you want it to be, a church or something along those lines, you have to fill out zoning permits. Now, it gets down, especially when it comes to things that the government is funding, like these AI data centers, they get built up really quick and fast because he knows that the funding is there, right? He doesn't have to wait. A lot of times these centers are expedited, right? Because ultimately E is funneling cash and or liquid through in order to get these centers built up quicker, man. That's why when you see public transportations and infrastructure or public roads, right of ways and infrastructure, like your streets, your curbs, your gutters, you see problems like potholes, you see problems like ponding, you see all these different basically infrastructure failures. He doesn't put money into those. Even though he has a budget for it, he doesn't make money out of it. So he don't really care. That's why the infrastructure of America is so shit, man. Because the devil has the money to improve these things. You know, even public water supply. Why in Detroit is the water flammable, man? It's not as if Detroit don't have the money or funding for it. But their politicians are sucking that funding out of it and putting it into their own pockets, man. Right? And that's still water, even though it's not drinkable, or what they would call potable water. But nevertheless, especially in the West, water is scarce. So building up these AI data centers to ultimately, increase your range of surveillance, and control, he's going to make sure that it's built up. But I want to read this in Psalms 94 and 20 in the NLT. It says, can unjust leaders claim that the Most High is on their side? Leaders who decrees permit injustice? Hey, water is a principal thing. Every being on the earth needs it, man. From sails, to an elephant, man, and everything in between. Leviathan, he underwater. But this just goes to show you, right? Number 21, it says they gang up against the righteous and condemn the innocent to death. Because here it is, he'll get mad at somebody, for tapping into a water source like a spout on the side of a hotel, to get daily water or something. But here it is, this devil is wasting billions of gallons of water just to build this center. Right? Showing you that he don't care about the people. As we said, streamlining, permitting, right? Hey, and I want to say that fair use as well, man. This is for educational purposes. Gotta say that, we know how E gets when it comes down to these news platforms. So I'm probably not going to even show all of it, but I'll show this part. Now here it is. Hey, with all these different animals needing water, needing the natural resources and structures that, for example, trees, bushes, shrubs, so forth and so on. He tears all that down in order to build these centers, man. So the life of man and beast are both groaning due to the fact that Esau's in power, man. Right? This Proverbs 29 and 2, and it reads, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Right? And right now you see mourning on a large scale. Everybody is hurt. The elders and apostles have done videos on just how the fact of having trees around you decreases stress, and it makes people feel better. Let alone, the air quality, but just having trees. So now imagine the AI data centers next to your house. The hail and radiation coming out of that building. Hey, you already know how damaging your phone can be. if it's in your pocket. It'll literally cook you. So now imagine a data center running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, the power that is stripping from the grid, the water that it's using, that could be potentially being used for your house and the people around you. You know, that amount of damage that it's going to do to the environment. It'll more than likely poison the soil at some point. But he's like, good, we need it. There's Isaiah 24:4. It says, the earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Why? Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Right? And as the scripture tells us in the book of Revelation, Revelation 11 and 18. I think it's 11 and... There's Revelation 11 and 18. It says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophet, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroyeth the earth. Because everything is just jacked up, man. See, the average techie, and it's a spirited land on 144. The average techie looks at this as an opportunity, you know, because they're like, okay, infrastructure is getting better in terms of what's happening technologically, but in essence, the quality of life weakens. We read how the things become weaker in age as Esau rules. The quality of life goes down, life expectancy goes down, and with him just stripping another resource of water right out of you, now you're what? Now you and your family become destitute. Everybody on the earth should be mad at this devil, not just us. You should have everybody crying out against his wickedness, man. Everybody, because there is no rest under him. None. Right? I'm trying to zoom in or continue to play some. Lord will. I don't want the video to be cut. Right? And when we say water is a finite resources, there's the people that need to drink it. Now they're trying to get into the fact that they say, oh, well, we have a 20-mile pipeline that we excavated and put pipe in order to send forth potable water onto this plant. But at the end of this video, the dude's saying, yeah, but we're not using it right now. Basically saying, hey, that was done, but they could have that pipe there and not even run the water and just continue to use the water that everyone needs. So let's see what the people are saying. This seems like the dumbest thing we have ever done next to lead and plastics. Imagine building one data center that produces more emissions than an entire major American city, just so people can generate 10-second videos of their cats making a pumpkin spice latte. Right? These data centers are the exact opposite of what we should be doing now to protect our water for the future. Right? Remember, we all did fine without AI and without the internet. Somebody said, we're not going to survive this. Hey, you're not going to survive, man. This is going to destroy the planet. Disgusting. Water for computers should not take precedence over water for humans. When this model flips, the machines start overtaking the humans that made them. Books and movies have been made about this, but green always wins. We will never learn. Hey, but these people are groaning, right? They're groaning, so they're seeing, the wickedness being done. But ultimately, they have no power in their hands, to stop anything either. So guess what? Yahweh Shemel Shah is going to allow Esau, to build up his enterprise to a certain point and ultimately have to take him down. Right? This is just another one of those sins that have reached unto heaven. And as the scripture says in the Revelation 18 chapter, for the Most High remembered her sins, her iniquities, For his sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered them. Paraphrasing, right? But I want to grab another precept coming from the book of Ecclesiastes 5 and 8. And I'm going to read it in the NLT. It says, don't be surprised if you see a poor person being oppressed by the powerful, and if justice is being miscarried throughout the land, right? And by ease building these centers, the billionaire and trillionaire families, quadrillionaires, you can go on and on. Top elite banking families, suppressing and oppressing everyone. Right? It says being oppressed by the powerful. And if justice is being miscarried throughout the land, for every official is under orders from higher up, right? Even these companies, nonprofits or whatever construction companies and developers that they're hiring in order to do this work, they're having these plans be issued unto them from the higher up, the elites, right? It says from higher up, and matters of justice get lost in red tape and bureaucracy. Woo! So bureaucracy, right? It says civil service, a system of government in which most of the important decisions are taken by state officials rather than by elected representatives, right? Officials in a bureaucracy considered as a group of hierarchy, excessively complicated administrative procedures, right? And the agenda is going to continue, So, this place isn't getting any better, and ultimately, it has to go down. And we're seeing the fall of it and prophesying of it, right? We know that with E and this AI, he's going to essentially accuse, the men of the Lord, the men of Yahweh Bashim al-Shah who are preaching. And this is just going to be another tool to persecute. But, E does not win this battle. Neither will he win this war, So I just want to bring forth some edification onto this topic of what exactly is happening, here on the West Coast and really worldwide concerning these AI centers. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the body. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakah Kodash. A double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone. And a sincere shalom to Yakim bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Shalom.